The job title software engineer is about to split into two. One side of that split will get paid more than it ever has, and the other side will be gone by the end of 2027. And right now, most developers are standing on the wrong side and have absolutely no idea. So hi, I'm Bago. I spent the last decade as a software engineer, starting off in robotics, then to NASA, then climbing the corporate ladder at Fortune 500, from a junior developer all the way to a manager. I left all of that behind to build a B2B AI consulting firm down here in LA, so I watched the split from both places. The one where you get told what to build, and the one where you decide what to build. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you which side of the split actually survives, why the thing that you are most proud of as a software engineer is exactly what's putting your career at risk, and the step-by-step plan to get on the safe side before the end of 2027. So first, let's actually define the split, because this is not the AI replaces all programmers headline that you've probably already seen 100 times. It's something a little bit more specific than that. And to better understand this, let's picture two engineers at the same exact company, the same exact skill level, and both pretty good at their jobs. The first engineer takes a ticket, writes the code, ships it, and pretty much moves on to the next one, and the cycle repeats. And he does that extremely well, week after week, month after month. The second engineer is in the same exact situation, except he's in the room before the ticket even exists, and he's asking questions such as, why are we building this at all? And talking to the actual customer behind what is going to be built. And then deciding what's worth the team's time in the first place. Now, on paper, these two individuals will have the same exact job title, but the first one would be a coder, while the second one would be an actual software engineer in the original sense of the word. Because engineers are somebody who solve problems, and code just happens to be one of their tools. And unfortunately, the industry has spent the last 20, 30 years pretending that these are the same exact thing because it was convenient for them. But go and behold, that coder that we just talked about is what AI actually replaced. Because AI is basically the fastest junior developer that you've ever really worked with. Now, it might not be the most accurate, but it definitely types faster than you, it knows more syntax than you, and it works 24 hours a day without getting tired. That being said, it's never been woken up at 3 a.m. because the deployment took down production, and it can't really tell you whether the thing that it's building should even exist in the first place. So everything in your job that looks like typing is getting compressed, and everything that looks like judgment is getting even more valuable. And that line between the two is the split. And here is the uncomfortable part, which is the second thing that I promised you. The thing that you are most proud of, the clean architecture, being able to pretty much code anything you want, build any application you want. All of those, so your technical skills, pretty much sit on the typing side of this line. The split that we talked about. You've spent, let's say, 10, 20 years sharpening the exact same skill that's now getting commoditized. And the industry rewarded you for it the entire time, and which is why it yet doesn't feel that real. The same skill that got you $250, $200 to potentially $250,000 compensation is going to be the same skill that's going to put a ceiling on your next 10 or 20 years of your life. Now, before you spiral down on that, let me show you the good news, because the same wave that's actually compressing these coding jobs is also opening up an opportunity in the market pretty much every single day that I get to see in my B2B consulting work. So Goldman Sachs found that 76% of firms say they're using AI, but only about 14% have actually integrated it into their workflows. So if we do the math on that, that's pretty much over 6 out of every 10 companies that bought the tools but never actually knew how to wire them in correctly. And the SBA found that 6 in 10 small business owners said that they have no AI expertise on their team whatsoever. And keep in mind, we're talking about a country with over 33 million small businesses in existence. So basically, picture a canyon where on one side you've got millions of businesses that know they need this stuff and simply just can't implement it yet. And then on the other side, you've got the technology just sitting there, and there's pretty much nobody in the middle building the bridge to connect the two. And of those that were building the bridge, MIT found that 95% of enterprise AI pilots were failing. And the way that I read that number as somebody who leads a B2B AI consulting firm, it's not that AI doesn't necessarily work, it's that companies do not have a single person who can properly translate between the business problem and the technological solution. So that translation is the new job. And at the end of the day, that is the side of the split that is going to get paid more than it ever has before. And I watch engineers cross this canyon all the time. One of our founders inside Code to CEO, my startup accelerator, Tamir, exemplified this perfectly when he closed the $50,000 project for a construction company. He talked to the business owner about the problem. The guy asked them how much and what the solution would look like and timeline and all those good stuff. And that's pretty much the entire go-to-market there. There was no app, no landing page. All it took was one simple conversation. So if you want the actual system that Damir used, that's what I'm going to walk through in my free live workshop on August 30th, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Link will be in the description down below. Go ahead and grab a seat completely for free. But stay with me until then because I still owe you the game plan. And step one of that game plan is one that everybody pretty much gets backwards. Because you see, the instinct for us software engineers is that when we finally decide to do our own thing, it's to go ahead and actually build something. We vanish for months, we build the perfect product, we launch it, and we get absolutely zero customers. And Scott told me straight up that he starts with the product and then goes looking for customers. And he knows that that is backwards. Carl, another software engineer, told me that he doesn't have the ability to see problems. Adrian, another software engineer, spent an entire year building something that nobody bought. And keep in mind, these aren't just 3 unlucky software engineers that I've talked to. This is pretty much the pattern. 7 out of every 10 engineers I talk to is going to fall into one of these things. So step one of the game plan is you have to flip the order. You have to find the problem and sell the solution first with real money on the table before you build anything. Which obviously raises the question, okay, but where are you supposed to find a problem worth solving, number one, and second, how am I supposed to sell before I build? And the answer to both of these questions is not Reddit. It's not asking ChatGPT for trending niches. It's not talking with AI. It's what I call using your unfair advantage. And it's really 3 circles that have to overlap. Circle 1 is your physical and digital location, meaning the business is physically around you, or obviously digitally around you, because a business owner trusts a local face over a stranger on the internet every single time. Circle 2 is your network, meaning anybody that you know on a first-name basis, your coworkers, your barber, your dentist, the business owners already in your phone. And circle 3 is obviously your experience, meaning the industries you understand better than any other engineer because you happened to work in them. Now, don't limit these to just location-wise businesses in your area. You can look at Chamber of Commerce, BNIs, things like that. And experience, don't limit it to just technical experience. Whenever these 3 overlap, that is going to be your unique advantage. And the best part is that nobody else on earth is going to have that exact same overlap as you are, which means nobody else can really compete with you on the same exact level. So that's pretty much the entire picture. The software engineering title is splitting into people who type and people who decide. So the skill you spent a decade polishing sits on the wrong side of that line. And the way across to the side of deciding is by actually building a business built on your 3 circles of unique advantage, selling before it's actually built, and starting that entire process before the end of 2027. But here's the problem that's sitting there right now. Because knowing the shape of your unique advantage and actually finding yours are going to be 2 completely different things. And the second one is where pretty much everybody's going to stall on, since it depends entirely on your circles, and I cannot map those sitting from here. So if you want to find your lane, if you want to validate it before you waste another weekend building, then I want you to go ahead and send in your application to code2ceo.com or Startup Accelerator. Link will be in the description down below. It's completely for free. Worst comes to worst, your application simply gets rejected, but even if that is the case, you will still get some insight into your specific situation. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good rest of your day.